Hello everyone and welcome back for another exciting edition of NTom and Volk's Spot of PC. We've got a pretty recent game to show off in this episode, and it is none other than SuperHot by SuperHot Team, the FPS in which time only moves when you move. How many people can you shoot down in the unfrozen time? Well, we're going to find out today, aren't we, Volk?
Yes, we are, but first we're going to have a conversation here with our yet-to-be-named friend about what this game is all about. It's a very self-aware story, let's just say that. So, this guy tells you about this new sick game called SuperHot, which is on a company's site which you have to hack into in order to actually get to. So you get the file, or the executable, from him, and then you start playing the game, but not all is as it seems.
Yeah, this seems less like a friendly game and more like, industrial espionage.
It is a little bit, but there's this whole story about what SuperHot actually is, and you find out more about it as you go on through the game. There's government interference and all sorts of random nonsense. It's pretty damn mindfucky, to say the least.
You're struggling to come up with like a term to describe it there, because it is honestly pretty unique. I can't think of another game that uses this sort of gimmick, at least in terms of like first-person shooters.
Oh yeah, definitely not. This is one of those games that plays a bit more like a puzzler than a first-person shooter, I would say, because there's like a lot of trial and error involved, and it comes with a pace of, okay, there's like 3 guys here, how do I most efficiently dispatch of all of them? And kind of using the environment around you to the best of your ability. As it goes, time does move very, very slowly. It's like maybe a frame, if even that. So it's not entirely frozen, so you can't just stand there forever and just wait for the world to end. You have to kind of think quickly, because as bullets are coming towards you, they're coming towards you very slowly, and they will eventually hit you if you don't move.
All I'm going to get is the world's slowest moving gun-based stand.
It's like whole horse, it feels like half asleep.
Now, just immediately, the colour of the game, the palette, reminds me of Mirror's Edge, but the actual character models are like just polygonal like characters. They could have come straight out of Smash Bros. Melee. Yeah,
like the wireframe characters, I see what you mean. I think the very basic visuals lend itself well to the overall style of the game. The enemies are very, very clear as to where they are, and you're not distracted by a lot of the background going on. You're purely focused on the immediate threats that are around you. It also makes it easier to find the bullets as well, because if they had like fully coloured and textured this whole thing, it would be pretty damn difficult to see where the bullets are coming from, and you would probably die a lot.
Take it slow, man. Take it slow.
No way, man. I did actually try it slow, but then I thought, you know what, fuck this, I'm going to man mode it, and it actually worked.
Nice. No.
Those sorts of moments are plentiful. It's always fun where you can just sort of see this bullet slowly scrape by you, and it's just like, whew! Okay, now I'm going to shoot you.
So here's the most important question of this episode. What parts of the game are we going to be showing off to our dear viewers?
We're going to be showing off, like, the first half an hour or so.
Okay.
So it gives you an idea of sort of, like, what the story is kind of aiming toward, and to give you an idea of how the gameplay might look going in. Of course, I didn't want to show off too far in, because there may be some spoilery things that people playing the game themselves, or who are interested in playing the games for themselves, may want to keep as a secret until the timing is appropriate.
Oh, come on, you went all stylish with that one.
Oh yeah, I did. This part of the game teaches you about throwing guns. While it is a quick way to be able to stun an enemy, you do lose the gun permanently. So you got to be very, very careful with when you decide to throw them, because obviously you want to make sure you have a spare firearm at hand, ready to pick up and continue your shooty spree.
There you go, that's how it's done. God, the graphics are gorgeous.
Oh yeah, for as simple as it is incredibly smooth, incredibly crisp. There's very little to complain about here. And as I say, the only thing you can think of is maybe a little more colour, but then I think that would actually distract from the gameplay a bit too much.
Now, where do you stand on the FPS genre? Because I don't really have any problems with it per se, but I will say I like the addition of puzzle-based elements tied so deeply into the core gameplay here, as opposed to like going through like say a Doom-styled environment to find a key card to open a door and so on.
Now, it's a bit difficult for me to say in all honesty, because I would say that I prefer FPSs to have a little bit more meat to them, as opposed to, here's a guy, shoot him, carry on through the level, find secrets, etc, etc. So things like SuperHot really stand out quite nicely for me. But then I kind of contradict myself, because I absolutely love the new Doom game, which is nothing more than that, with a completely rocking soundtrack and weapons that make you want to cream all over yourself.
Oh yeah,
it's amazing.
Well, I don't know about that, but when I get a PS4, I'm sure as shit picking up the new Doom. Hell yeah, buddy.
You say you're not sure about that, but trust me, you'll quickly change your mind.
Judging by Helldragon's tweets about said game, anything's possible.
And I also enjoy games like Duke Nukem, but then again, that's not so much a mechanical thing as it is to what kind of environment it's set in. It has a unique sense of humor you don't really see in most first-person shooter games. And then you've got games like Borderlands as well, which is a first-person shooter mixed with an RPG, and you know how much I like my RPGs, so that works out well for me too. So you could say I like just about any first-person shooter game as long as it's not generic.
Lead your shot, mate, lead your shot.
I do try to lead shots here, but it can be quite difficult because you can't always predict when the enemies are going to actually stop in place, because sometimes you think, oh, he's going to go over here, but then they'll just sort of like stop halfway between where you're expecting them to be, and then they just shoot you and you're dead. So you've got to be very careful about that as well. And as well as that, the enemies will also lead their shots as well, or at least attempt to. So you got to look out for them trying that on you as well, which is where the whole take it slow aspect comes in, because you can't always predict where the bullets are going to be, because the AI, they're not just cookie-cutter run-of-the-mill types, they are somewhat intelligent.
Well, you could argue that it's like the company's defense program kicking into gear, so it would have to be higher quality.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, especially for a game like this, where it lends itself very nicely to the whole puzzle thing, and you want it to be challenging. Eventually, the game also introduces new weapons as well, so there's new guns to grab, and also various melee weapons that you can pick up, like the baseball bat and katana.
Yeah.
So there's plenty enough there that gets added later on to help spice up the weapon play in particular. But mostly it's all about just like testing your reflexes, and eventually you get to a point where you can sort of do this whole shoot a guy, throw your gun at another guy to disarm him, steal his weapon, shoot him, find the next person to throw a weapon at, and basically do that sort of thing, where eventually it just becomes a shoot and gun juggle. And it looks really, really good. It's just like a scene out of Equilibrium.
I was gonna say either Equilibrium or The Matrix, yeah.
I would say more Equilibrium, because Equilibrium lends itself more to those sort of like gun katas sort of thing, where it's just guns flying around everywhere as opposed to just shooting and some guy going... Just imagine I'm sort of like waving my arms a bit in slow motion.
Is there any, like, proper reason for the game going super hot whenever you finish a level?
Not really. I think that's just kind of their gimmick that they wanted to throw in there. It's a nice way to be able to just make you feel good about accomplishing something, and then you get to see it all in real time, and it just makes you feel like a badass.
Oh.
As for the whole super hot thing, as I say, it's probably just a gimmick they decided to throw in because it sounded fun, and it is rather fun.
It's going to be awkward when they create their second game that isn't a SuperHot sequel, because, you know, they're the SuperHot team, so, you know, what are you going to do? It's always going to be in SuperHot Shadow, their first game, Shadow.
The sequel's actually going to be called Hypercold.
Nice. I thought you were being serious for a moment there.
I wish I was. It would be great to have a sequel to this game, or something that did something a little bit different. Now, the interesting thing here is that you do actually type your responses, but you're sort of tacking away on the keyboard, thinking you could type in anything you want, but it's all predetermined, so you can just mash the keyboard, and it'll just come up with entire sentences for you.
I love the juxtaposition between these, like, 80s-ass computer dialogues and then the hyper-modern, kind of just, like, stark white and redness of the actual gameplay.
You're like being warped between, like, the 1980s and the very, very near future. You're like going from DOS to super realistic simulation.
There you go. Well, VR nowadays.
Yeah, VR. This game in VR would be quite incredible.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't, like, have one ready for, like, the PSVR's launch. Oh, get out the way!
It's coming very slowly. Now, I thought I could do like a Wolverine thing, and just like leap off the car and then deck him, but
That was the exact opposite of a Wolverine jump.
it's like, I'm Hugh Jackman! No, wait, no, I'm not.
If only I were Hugh Jackman, I could have survived. Stop playing peekaboo with this guy, just disarm him already.
Well, I'm trying to make sure he doesn't
Whoa.
shoot me, but then, yeah, that happened, so I thought, okay, can't be messing around now. Alright, you, yeah, you can have the bullet. I was having to think there for a second, because you also have to think of who's shooting at you. When you disarm someone, they're stunned for a couple of seconds, so you have a little bit of time to attend to other enemies in the room, so you don't necessarily have to deal with an enemy you just threw a gun at right away. So you can kind of prioritize and manage your targets that way in order to give yourself the best possible chance of survival, and if you're somebody who likes to look fancy, well, it's the great way to look fancy.
Is it a one-hit kill thing? Like, do you have to aim for their head?
No, you don't actually have to aim for the head at all. As long as you aim anywhere on the body, you're pretty much good. So this whole notion that you have to go for headshots is nothing more than giving yourself a little bit of brownie points, so to speak.
Yeah, bit of a handicap, really. Hard mode of super hot.
Also, the game does encourage you by giving you like little messages that pop up on the screen, like boom, headshot, and things like that.
Nice,
so
nice.
You're kind of encouraged, but even though you don't have to, you do find yourself going for it because it's just like, I want to just be stylish about this.
Well, apart from the X-Men failure at the start, that was pretty slick overall.
Well, luckily we managed to rewind time and do that again, so, you know, it's no big deal. It never happened.
Yeah.
But that won't be the only vehicular-based level we'll be seeing today as well, so...
Could you really call that a vehicular-based level when it was just one car at the beginning and then a bunch of other guys come out to try and kill you?
Well, it's one more vehicle than we've had so far, so I would say yes.
Oh, this is cool. It's kind of like a Wild West tavern brawl.
Or something out of a James Bond movie.
Uh-huh.
So there you go, we just shot the bartender in the dick, and now we're going to see about taking care of the rest of these guys.
Okay.
Now they're coming from two doors, so you got to be careful to not leave one door unattended for too long, otherwise you may find a gun to the back of your head.
Oh yeah, and that's the last thing you want to happen in the frozen time.
Oh, definitely. Especially when it's one of these things, you'll be having nightmare about red polygonal men for years.
Seriously. Yeah, it was the fighting polygon team, not the wireframe team I was referring to earlier, by the way.
That's fair enough. I'm sure you can be forgiven for that.
The wireframe team came in Smash Bros. Brawl, I believe.
Yes, I believe you are right on that one. See, it says right there, headache.
Headache, super, headache, super, headache.
Head on, apply directly to the forehead.
Originally, Volk and I were just going to say super hot for the entirety of the commentary, but I thought that would get a little bit old.
I did recommend saying it in like 15 different languages, but that required a bit too much revision.
Ah, muy caliente, muy caliente.
It would have been amazing though. Maybe we can make like an alternate version.
Not much to complain about there, mate. Pretty good.
Especially when you get like all these different objects you can throw at people, you can have some wicked fun with that, just constantly throwing things at people, and then you pick up the gun and shoot them.
Okay, so we're in prison now, I guess?
Well, we were told not to talk about Fight Club, and we kind of did, so now this is happening.
Oh, you got cold clocked from behind. Stop the match. By God, it's over.
Yeah, all this is missing is some Jim Ross commentary, and this would pretty much be perfect. So I thought, okay, that guy's clearly the dangerous one, so now we can pick up the old bat and start clubbing some people.
It's just visually appealing. I'm sorry I keep, like, beating this super hot red horse, but I don't know, I guess I'm a sucker for, like, very stylistic graphics, I don't know. But the good thing is, it's not just, like, a visual gimmick. It's got a good, like, solid gameplay mechanic to, you know, complement the graphics.
And there's good reason for it being there as well. It doesn't be anything more than it needs to be, and it doesn't take away from anything over what the main focus is meant to be, which is, in this case, the gameplay. So here at this point, I realized that you can't just trade your weapons by kind of clicking to pick one up. You can't actually destroy weapons if you're already armed with one. So if you're in a situation where there's a lot of weapons and you don't necessarily need them all, you can destroy them and hinder your enemy's chances of beating you.
Damn, man, what did that guy in the toilets ever do to you?
He looked at me funny.
He wasn't even looking at you!
You can't tell. He may have eyes at the back of his head. You never know.
Ah, fine. Well, I guess we're gonna have to use bottles to get our way out of this predicament.
Although I'm having to be careful here because I'm trying to sort of see what my surroundings are as well.
Well, 2 bullets in the eye, that's what it is.
So there we go. We take care of that guy again. Sometimes you'd want to maybe deliberately lose like the first 1 or 2 times just so you can see what your surroundings are like. Because especially as the levels get more complex, you have all these little hidey holes where enemies could potentially come from. And knowing where those are beforehand will save you a lot of time when it actually comes to completing the level.
Oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, so this guy has a shotgun, so he's obviously very, very dangerous.
Whoa!
Whoa! I was particularly pleased with that one.
That guy's holding his sideways. Kill him first.
He's trying to be the stylish one now.
Just throwing everything at these guys. Just get a gun already.
There's nobody else that said, nope, alright, just throw more shit at them.
Man, you're racking up one hell of a bar tab right now.
I don't care. There's not anyone left to pick up the tab on this one.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you shot me. That was a great message, by the way.
Time, gentlemen, please. For those of you who don't know, that is when you attempt to get a drink after last orders are up.
Mm-hmm.
You get yelled at, they say, time, gentlemen, please, and you're kind of forced to leave. So, there you go. A little bit of trivia there for you. Ah, nice 2-for-1 deal there. You don't get that on your average episode of Bargain Hunt.
What the fuck?
Sorry, I'm trying to bring out my inner commentator for, like, esports and things. I don't have a future in that, but sometimes I like to dabble. Just for the fun of it.
David Dickinson for fucking esports. Let's go. It's hype time.
Oh, he picks up the shotgun. That's a real Bobby Dazzler right there.
You fucker. Jesus Christ. Ugh.
We like to have fun here.
Yeah. What I like is there's actually no ranking system, and usually that would, I would say, be a detriment in, you know, games like this, where you could so very easily put in a scoring system, but really it's more about you just simply getting better with each try. You know, there's no, like, gold medal at the end, it's just your survival that's the prize, really.
Yeah, you kind of make up like your own rules for how you want to go through each level. Like, do you want to be efficient, or do you just want to be the most styling motherfucker possible? And there are times where you sort of get to the point where, oh, this is getting really hard, I better take this seriously. And then you start getting back into your zone again, it's just like, you know what, I'm going to headshot every single person here.
Always take a bottle with you.
Yep, you never know. I mean, they give you plenty to throw there, so obviously it's there for a reason. Here we go. Wait patiently for the gun to make its way.
Yes.
I kind of jiggle back and forth a bit just to let time go a little bit. You do have to do that on occasion if you want to wait for a opportunity to like pick up a mid-air weapon or something like that. But you don't always want to do that because, of course, there are more people around who are going to be firing at you.
The more I watch this, the more I think you're totally right. It is equilibrium. It's all about spacing, positioning, getting into the right place at the right time to both dodge and counter.
Now, I haven't actually completed the game yet, but I'm kind of hoping there's a scene where there's like 6 guys around you with 2 shotguns and you just pick them both up and then just go blam, 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 blam and take them all out at once.
Such a fucking good movie, man. You might think it's like all gimmicky and whatnot, but it's actually fairly entertaining in its own right.
Oh yeah, I dare say it's probably one of my favourite movies of all time. I don't really see anything other than maybe comedy-based movies like Kung Pao. It's like, you okay this? But yeah, Equilibrium's like one of my all-time favourite movies. So to have a game where you can get the feeling like you're actually playing as a cleric is pretty damn nice in my books.
Just imagine all these guys are Sean Bean and you get through the level no problem.
Or that one dude who becomes your partner at the end and is just like, be careful of the suit. I plan to be wearing it for a long time. And then gets his face sliced off.
Oh, that fucker. Jesus.
I can't actually remember the dude's name, but you know exactly
who cares? He's dead. Fuck him.
He has no face.
Okay, we're doing good here. I'm still not really getting like an inkling on what's happening within the story, but I'm just enjoying things as they go, really.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you some time to mess around before it starts throwing too much story at you. Now, I didn't expect that thing to come at me as fast as it did. I thought I had more time, so you pretty much have to immediately go there, otherwise you're pretty much pancaked. That, and I did kind of want to see the dude get smushed by the car first. I was like, okay, I think I got my thing out of that. Oh, wait, I have to get out the way.
Oh, has he got an assault rifle?
Yep, so we're going to take that off him.
I'll be having that, thank you. Peace out.
Now, the weird thing about the assault rifle is that once you click once, it does fire about 3 or 4 shots. So you don't get this whole one shot at a time thing going on. You are firing multiple shots, like you would expect from an assault rifle. So the flavour of the weapons are kept intact, even when time is pretty much slowed to an entire stop or a crawl at best.
This sort of thing seems like it would be really easy to make DLC like packages for, because you just have like a set environment and you create puzzles within that environment. So, you know, you have ready-made assets already there, so just like plonk a few AI patterns in and boom, you're good to go.
I feel like if this game had like a budget of a AAA company, they probably would have included something like a level editor of some description, like they did in the 2016 version of Doom. So you kind of have like these set rooms, and you can like set all these various AI scripts and things like that. I feel like that's something they may well have been able to do if they had the budget of, as I say, a AAA developer or just somebody with a lot of money.
This is obviously an indie title. You can tell by the fact that it's not smothered by corporations. Wow, that may have been the most pretentious thing I said in 2016, and there's an ever-growing list, I assure you.
Well, you still got 2 months to beat it, so...
Good stuff.
So yeah, this guy kind of answers the question of something happens eventually, but they don't want to spoil it, so they're going to let you just go through the game.
Yeah, keep playing, player, keep playing.
So they send you more levels, but the only problem is these ones are actually password protected.
Huh.
So... you'd have thought, like, you may have had to have looked on, like, the menu screen and things like that to see if you can find some potential clues as to what the password is. But no, it turns out if you just mash the keyboard a couple of times and press enter, it'll reject, like, maybe the first 1 or 2, and then it'll let you in. I get the feeling they could have missed something there, like, included something in the menu or something like that. There was a game whose name I can't quite remember, but it involved, like, a unicorn or a horse. And it's like based around looking into like the bare bones of the game to try and find like this underlying thing, which is all to do with like the devil and things like that. I can't remember the name of it, but I feel like they could have borrowed some elements of that just for this password part.
Yeah, well, when you said that, I thought of Robot Unicorn Attack, so I guess...
Oh no, this is an entirely different game, but I cannot remember it for the life of me, unfortunately. Which is a shame as well, because it's a very interesting game.
Maybe the comments will be able to help us. Ooh, access granted, here we go, boys. And anyone else watching? Sorry, I didn't mean to discriminate.
As you might be able to tell, the things are not as they seem, because there's no game right now. There are no elements, no enemies, but it's glitchy as hell.
Oh, Matrix is going wackadoo.
They cracked the system! There they are! And yeah, there's tons of weapons, so they're not going to be short on ammo anytime soon, so you got to make sure you act quickly.
Dude, this is the fucking, like, lobby scene from the first Matrix, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Through and through. So, we gotta think of moves very carefully here, because there are 3 ways in, so you have multiple directions which you need to be looking at any given time to avoid shotgun pellets and the like. So you gotta get into this habit of leading enemies and waiting for your gun to reload and then start going on the offensive. So it plays very much like a normal FPS in some cases, where you're kind of using the cover and reload times to squeeze out every possible advantage and minimize any disadvantage you might have. One in the leg as well.
Oh, never saw it coming.
Oh, what's he doing?
Yeah, fuck you, boy.
Don't run at a guy with an assault rifle, are you crazy?
Super dead. Super dead.
Yeah, not the brightest idea he ever had, but you don't have to worry about having any more ideas anymore because, well, he's dead.
Oh, wow, he's a program. He never existed in the first place. Oh, I'm getting a bit, metaphysical here. Are you with them or against them? Dun 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 dun. Oh.
There you go. They're fighting back.
Oh. Oh god, what's happening?
And that is apparently us. So now they know who we are and where we are. And they're going to do all sorts of crazy crap to us.
I'm tripping bad, man.
Oh my god, I'm coming down!
Oh, so we're coming to the end of this little quick look on SuperHot. How would you say you liked it? Would you recommend it to people?
It's pretty super and it's pretty hot. I can't really say much more than that. The only thing I will say is that it's maybe a little bit on the pricey side for some people, but if you can see it on a sale or something, maybe for like a third off, maybe a bit more than that, I would highly recommend this game because it's incredibly fun. It's one of those sorts of games you can just sit down with for about half an hour to an hour and just have some solid fun with it.
And we are a PC-centric series here, but I believe it's also on the Xbox One, if that's your particular console tipple of choice. But we're done here for today, guys, so we'll see you next time for another episode of NTom and Volk's Spot of PC. Goodbye for now.